Good day, folks, and welcome to another edition of Lumberjack Logic. I'm your host, Neil Johnson, with a great report for you. And if you're wondering why I've got a big American flag on my face, well, my kids had a church fair tonight, and my daughter's good friend was face painting, and they knew exactly what I needed on my face. That's right, because I love America. And what I really love is seeing Trump over there inking big deals for our corporations, bringing business leaders along, producing jobs back here at home. And while he's on this whirlwind trip, he's having win after win after win. The Democrats continue to try and oppose sending illegal aliens back home. And what's really wild about this is Trump is showing how effective he can be at raising America up on the world stage, while the Democrats want to continually bring us down. So we have both Hakeem Jeffries and AOC going full tilt on this. Check this out. First, AOC.
Well, three House Democrats, Jillian, face potential disciplinary action in Congress and potential criminal charges from the feds after this scuffle outside an ICE.
Wait, and here it is, folks. I had to stop it and pause for the hanging belly shot just so you could see our illustrious Congresswoman.
Facility in Newark, New Jersey on Friday. DHS says arrests are still on the table. For more on this, let's dig deeper with Tricia McLaughlin. She is the Public Affairs Assistant Secretary for the Department of Homeland Security. Welcome to America Reports in person.
Thank you for having me.
It's nice to see you in person.
It's great to be in person with you both.
So Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez has deemed it necessary for her to interject herself in an issue that would seem to have nothing to do with her district. And she's warning y'all, don't mess with the Democrat members of Congress. Listen to what she said.
If anyone's breaking the law in this situation, it's not members of Congress, it's the Department of Homeland Security. It's people like Tom Homan and Secretary Kristi Noem. You lay a finger on someone, on Representative Bonnie Watson Coleman, or any of the representatives that were there, you lay a finger on them, we are going to have a problem.
Don't worry, folks. I'm sure that every ICE agent, Tom Homan, Kristi Noem, and Donald Trump are shaking in their boots over the threats of AOC.
Well, the problem would seem to be that those people may have been laying fingers or at least body slamming federal agents who were there. What do you say to the good Congresswoman?
I'd like to ask AOC, who does she want out of that detention facility? Is it the MS-13 members? Is it the known terrorists? Is it the child rapists? Is it the murderers? Who is she fighting for? Because she's not fighting for Americans. She's not fighting for American victims. And I'd like to lay out the facts. The fact that it was these three members of Congress who trespassed, broke the law, and stormed that ICE detention facility. They put law enforcement at risk. They put our detainees at risk, and they put our staff at risk. Had they asked for a tour, we would have happily facilitated one for them, but there was absolutely no notice. And the fact that they put hands, they body slammed, body rammed, push, shove, whatever you want to call it, it was assault on our ICE agents, and it's unacceptable.
These pompous idiots in Congress, who does AOC and these other people think they are? I mean, they ran with this J6 narrative about assaulting officers, and here they are out shoving officers around, and then they tell us that no one's above the law. And I mean, if you or I did this to an ICE agent, I guarantee it would not turn out really well for us.
Question about the mayor's office. They're arguing that when he was arrested, he was on public property. He had exited the DHS facility and he was outside whatever the gate scenario is there. So that somehow makes the arrest not only unlawful, but completely unnecessary because he was on his way out. What's your response to that?
If there was any civilian who had stormed an ICE detention facility, trespassed, and broke the law, they would be arrested. The mayor is not in any special position just because he's a public official. Again, if he had asked for a tour, we would have coordinated and facilitated one for him. That was not the case, and those aren't the facts on the ground. I know he'd like to whitewash them, but he did break the law, and we'll act accordingly.
And yet here's what Benny Thompson said about all of this. He said, quote, "The law is clear. ICE must let them in when they show up to detention facilities. ICE needs to keep its hands to itself and treat everyone with respect. They are officers of the law, not Trump stormtroopers. More oversight and more unannounced visits are clearly urgently needed." As you've said twice now, Todd Lyons has said that all you had to do was ask and you could come in. But Benny Thompson seems to be inferring here with what he's saying is, well, if we had have asked, it would have cleaned the place up and whitewashed it. I guess I still think back to the Joe Biden visit in El Paso where they whitewashed the entire city.
And I have to know for Benny Thompson, is he aware that actually those 3 members who went on to storm that facility, eventually we actually coordinated a tour for them. So they in themselves in their press conference said, actually, they're good and proper conditions. So again, this is just a political stunt. I understand that mayor is running for higher office. He's running for governor, and he wants his 15 minutes of fame, and he's going to do that on the backs of our law enforcement, who are already facing a 400% increase in assaults against them. It's quite disgusting.
She's right. The mayor is just another citizen. In fact, he's held to a higher standard because he's entrusted with actually signing laws, making laws, doing things for the city that require him to be held to a higher standard. So when he goes and does this stuff, he's not above the law. And it's really funny that Benny Thompson gets out and says these things when he's a known insurrectionist, an absolute lawbreaker. And he's going to come out and talk to everybody about the law. It's insane.
What about the other argument coming from the 3 lawmakers and the mayor, which is that because these illegal immigrants who are being held in these facilities are residing in their state, they are in some sense a sort of extended constituency to them?
Well,
does that hold any legal sort of merit?
They're in this country illegally, and they're under ICE custody. And we have some of the highest standards in the country. But I'm not seeing these Congress members, these mayors, going to their own facilities who are housing detainees that are U.S. citizens. They seem only concerned with illegal aliens. Again, I don't understand why they're fighting for members of MS-13, why they're fighting for murderers, child rapists. What about the American victims?
Yeah, the only thing I could think of, and other people have thought of, is if you can make it difficult to deport a gang member, you're not going to be able to deport any non-criminal illegal alien.
You know, these are great points. I mean, people are thrown in jail every day. Why aren't the Democrats running around to all the other facilities and saying, why are these people in jail? Why are they only concerned with illegal aliens? Are they only concerned with them because they want them counted in the census so they can increase their congressional seats in blue states? Are they really concerned because they want them to be able to vote in elections as illegal aliens? Are they super concerned because they need them as a constituency? They're calling them their constituency. I think that the point that was made about that being harder to deport anyone if they can't deport gang members was a great point. But let's check out what Hakeem Jeffries has to say now.
Your statement the other day after there was this incident in Newark, you said they better not touch our members.
Correct.
What happens if they were to go and arrest these members, or if they would try to sanction them here in the House of Representatives?
They'll find out.
What would you do? What recourse? I mean, doesn't that broach a...
They'll find out.
Doesn't that go across...
That's a red line.
What's the red line, though? I mean, I know we have this...
It's a red line. It's very clear. First of all, I think that the so-called Homeland Security spokesperson is a joke. It's a joke. They know better than to go down that road, and it's been made loudly and abundantly clear to the Trump administration.
Again, I'm sure that Donald Trump is very afraid of Hakeem Jeffries. Give me a break. And what Hakeem Jeffries saying here is that Congress people are above the law and that they can't be touched even when they do something that is caught on police body cam footage that clearly shows illegal actions. Is that what he's saying?
We're not going to be intimidated by their tactics to try to force principled opposition from not standing up to their extremism. It hasn't happened during the entirety of this failed term. It didn't happen when Donald Trump temporarily was sitting high in the immediate aftermath of the election. Do you think it's going to happen now when he's the most unpopular president in American history after his first 100 days? Give me a break. No one's intimidated by this dude. No one.
I will guarantee you that nobody in the Trump administration is intimidated by Hakeem Jeffries. Absolutely no one. This guy is a joke. First off, the polls are lies. I've covered that before. They're not even counting in a 50-50 election. Basically, they're not counting 13%. They're undercounting Trump voters by 13 to 15%. That's why they're getting the numbers they're getting. Okay, Trump is actually plus. He's positive right now in approval. After this trip to the Middle East, where he's bringing home trillions of dollars, he's going to be only more popular. who is very unpopular are the Democrats in Congress. They are more unpopular than they've ever been in history. And just tell me, what exactly is the extremism of Donald Trump? Getting illegal aliens out of the country? Or was the open border the extremism?
And so there are clear lines that they just dare not cross.
You know what, folks? I don't think Hakeem Jeffries has been sleeping very well, so you might want to get him a MyPillow. Actually, you know what you need to do is get yourself some Giza sheets, because $49.98, any color, any size, the best sheets money can buy. And now at $49.98, you can't afford not to. So give them a call at 1-800-568-2865 or check them out at mypillow.com/lumberjack. Exclusive deal for my listeners.
If they break the law, are you going to cross Hakeem's red line?
I tell you what, Jesse, what happened last Friday was we had members of Congress assaulting law enforcement officers. They were cooperating with criminals to create criminal acts, and then they're saying that they were providing oversight. This wasn't oversight. This was committing felonies. This was going out and attacking people who stand up for the rule of law, and it was absolutely horrible. I can't believe they act like this and then they defend it. And then they're doing these acts of violence to get people out of detention centers that are rapists, that are murderers, that are people that are foreign terrorist organizations that have been out there victimizing our communities in the United States of America. What are they trying to do? Release these people back into the country so that there could be more Laken Rileys, so there can be more Jocelyn Nungries? I just don't understand what their point is. They have completely lost their minds. They have completely lost their minds.
So you're saying if members of Congress break the law, they're not going to get special treatment. They're going to be treated like any other U.S. citizen. If they break the law, they're going to pay the price.
Well, that's up to the Department of Justice. My job is to follow the law and to make sure that individuals that are in this country illegally face consequences for that, and especially those that have committed criminal acts against the people that live in the United States of America. So the Department of Justice will make those decisions, but I'll tell you what, those ICE officers get up every single day and they love their jobs because they finally get to do their jobs with President Trump in the White House. And the fact that a member of Congress punched them, hit them, body slammed them, and then claimed that they were the victims, it's astounding to me that someone would even vote for someone and put them in a place of leadership when they perpetuate something as hypocritical and as criminal as what these individuals did. So I hope that the rest of the members of the House of Representatives will hold them accountable. They shouldn't be allowed to be on the committees that they're on. In fact, one of them is supposed to be conducting oversight over ICE, and instead she's assaulting them, and they don't deserve to be in the House. They should be censured by it. It's what's happening in this country and what agendas the Democrats are embracing is absurd, and it's not American. And I'm hoping that the American people recognize it and hold them accountable for what they're doing for criminal acts against people in this country.
Yeah, we would expect criminal referrals to the DOJ if any member of Congress or anybody assaults an ICE officer. There was this Wisconsin judge, you're familiar with her, Hannah Dugan. She tried to slide a Biden migrant out the back door and obstruct an ICE arrest at her own courthouse. Well, it looks like she's been indicted. How do you react to that?
I'll tell you what I think, folks. I think it's awesome. I think it's absolutely like the government gangsters finally getting it. That to me is justice. But I am about to show you, I saved the best for last, okay? And this is going to be my sign off, and I'm just going to let this play out. But this was in Congress. Watch Kristi Noem handle the questions from this guy. This is unbelievable. These Democrats are so lost.
Would you advise governors to give public assurances that federal immigration enforcement will not take place in their state?
Would I advise to governors that they not?
That they give public assurances that immigration enforcement will not occur in their states?
No, I prefer that governors partner with us to make their states safer. I believe that the relationships that we have on the ground in many states is absolutely critical to making sure.
So the answer is no. You would not advise them to tell their constituents, no, there will not be any enforcement in this state. Would you have publicly told immigrants, as governor in your state, not to worry about deportations because your state wasn't a border state like Texas or California?
I felt as though my state was a border state because we were every day impacted by the drug trafficking and the human trafficking that was coming over the border and had put a foothold in the state of South Dakota. Every state was dramatically impacted.
Okay, so you would not have told immigrants in your state, don't worry about deportation. You would not have said that.
The laws need to apply equally to everybody. That's what is so discouraging about the previous administration is they picked winners.
Okay,
and losers.
so that's the question has been answered. That's fine. You would not say that. You would tell your constituents immigration laws will be enforced in this state whether or not we are a border state like California or Texas.
Laws will be enforced, absolutely.
In January, the governor of Puerto Rico made an opposite claim. She told immigrants not to worry about deportations because we're not Texas or California. Days later, ICE conducted enforcement operations in immigrant neighborhoods in San Juan. Was that a responsible thing to say?
I didn't hear her say that and haven't heard this before, but I believe that the partnerships we have with governors is extremely powerful in keeping their communities safe.
That's a no answer. Was she aware, was she briefed by DHS about the immigrant raids that would happen in the ensuing days?
I have no knowledge to that situation. What I will tell you is that every governor that I know of feels the responsibility of protecting their state, and they should be making the best decisions to secure their communities and their families that live there.
And that includes telling people in their states or jurisdictions the administration's policy is that there will be raids to detain people who were undocumented in their jurisdictions, not to tell them, don't worry, this will not happen here.
I am not certain as to the situation you're speaking to. I'll get more information so that I can respond to you appropriately.
Yeah, but hypothetically, as governor, would you have told the people of your state the laws will be enforced here as in any other state?
What I would tell my people of South Dakota is that my job is to work for them and to represent them and to be their leader and protect their best interests. That includes making sure that citizens of South Dakota are my number one priority every day.
I understand that, and I thank you for your time. And like I said at the beginning of my turn, I do look forward to working constructively on ways to reimagine FEMA and disaster response and to make sure that those funds, which today you have told us are not guaranteed for the people of Puerto Rico, are guaranteed and delivered on time. Thank you.